store about 7 items of information. That's why the 7 digits of a new phone number are about as much as most people can remember. But just how good is Susan's working memory? This is Thompson Street in New York, home of the city's sidewalk chess cafes. And we're about to give Susan a memory test. Can she memorize all the pieces and pawns on this diagram? That's 28 items of information. To make things even trickier, the diagram has been pasted to the side of a cafe's speeding van. Susan only has time for a single 3-second glance. But watch this. Susan's working memory is working overtime. She's made an exact copy. To explain her miracle of memory, this scientist has come to a very surprising place. The diners at this London restaurant don't know it, but their table is under surveillance.
He's proceeding here in a counterclockwise order.
Psychologist Anders Ericsson has spent nearly 30 years studying amazing memories. And it doesn't have to be chess grandmasters.
More and more, we've been interested in everyday life expert performance. Somebody who can do something that is extraordinary.
He's expecting a bravura performance from Spanish waiter Vincenti Sancho.
I think I have a good memory. I have the memory of my grandma. You ready to order?
Yes.
Okay.
May I have a cracker, please? And I'll take the baked squid risotto.
Risotto.
They're giving drink orders as well as a meal. This is going to be challenging for him.
Yeah, we do.
Only tiger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then can I start off with no chew with the chest man?
Like Susan, Vincenti's working memory has to take in a lot of information. But he never writes anything down.
Can I start with the sauteed baked squid, please?
And this is going to be a tall order.
Okay, risotto and manfes. The Nero risotto. Nero risotto.
The question is, how many orders can he handle in working memory?
So, smoked and cranberry, Nero risotto on the skate, tiger beer, with the gnocchi on the beef grill. The Nero risotto, the manfes and gin tonic.
It seems Vincenti can remember far more than 7 orders.
Glass Pinot Grigio with the foie gras and your beef medium rare. The glass de Sauvignon, the petit bourgeois, and the Nero risotto and the manfes. To the lady, the glass Pinot Grigio, gnocchi and John Dory, a couple of bottles of water for the table.
Very good.
So,
23 orders in all.
That's impressive.
Like Susan, Vincenti seems to exceed the normal limits of working memory.
the beef medium rare.
But how is he doing it?
Vincent, that was really impressive. Really want to understand here how you were doing this. Now you're coming in. Do you know who you can ask to give you the first order?
Yes, it's always the best to start for my left.
Okay.
So to try to keep an order. It's one.
Side of the van, the pieces have been placed at random by a non-chess player. So this time, there are no recognizable chunks. Now Susan's trying to remember 24 individual pieces, and she can't do it.
All the pieces are in random position. It's just so much harder to remember, especially under a very short time.
But how does Susan identify chess chunks? To her, they're lifelong friends. Memories that were implanted in her brain during her extraordinary childhood.
They might not look like the sharing kind, but these guys will. And find out how they achieve such.
Still the same. My phone used to be here. When we finally got the phone for the first time, we used to keep it there. Wow, and this used to be the living room.
This is where Susan did some of the hardest work of her life, for up to 6 hours a day.
I used to have a wall of chess books here, a library of chess books, a collection of 4,000 to 5,000 of different titles. And actually I even had a catalog of chess games with a selection of 200,000 games, manually being cut from various chess magazines and newspapers and sorted by various openings and various players.
This massive effort was required throughout Susan's childhood to commit the complex secrets of chess to memory. The number of possible games is vastly greater than the number of atoms in the universe. But chess chunks are the order in the chaos. These small but typical formations appear again and again in different games. They are the basic words in the language of chess. Most 10-year-olds know only 10,000 words. At the same age, Susan was devoting her childhood to learning 100,000 chess chunks. This process would physically transform her brain. With constant repetition, information moves from working memory into long-term memory. Working memory lasts only seconds until the electrical connections between neurons die away. But in long-term memory, the repetition of these currents stimulates the neurons to form new and permanent connections. The memorized information is now hardwired and can last a lifetime. Like anyone else, Susan's long-term memory is a storehouse of family faces and lifetime experiences. But now, chess chunks were also indelibly imprinted on her brain. By the early 1980s, the Polgar chess factory had stepped up its output. Susan's two younger sisters, Sophia and Judith, were next on the genius assembly line. And within a few years, the family would be ready to take the world of chess by storm. At 15, Susan was already the top-ranked female player in the world. At the 1985 New York Open, she caused a sensation by beating a Grandmaster for the first time. By 1989, 12-year-old Judith had a winning streak of 8 competitions in a row. At 14, Sophia annihilated 4 Grandmasters for one of the greatest tournament results of all time.
Just watching them seated at chessboards, I immediately had a sense that I had never seen with women players elsewhere.
Susan is still a powerful presence at the board. Like all the Polgar sisters, she seems to make a move as easily as taking a breath.
There seemed to be a line direct from their brain to the end of the finger and the piece moved, and that was it.
But it should be beyond the power of a human brain to pick the best move. There are roughly 4 billion possibilities for the next 3 moves alone. That's a calculation only a supercomputer could perform. So how can Susan move at this incredible speed? For Hartstone, the only explanation is that her human brain is using a very human skill.
We seem to heap a lot of praise on people's calculating ability, but take for granted all sorts of mental abilities that are absolutely intuitive.
Intuition sounds more like magic than science. But Hardston believes it is a specific skill displayed by experts in all fields, and it can be explained. By training, William Hardston is a psychologist and a former United Kingdom chess champion.
It's not as bad as I feared.
But today, he's going back to square one as a trainee firefighter. Hardston plans to compare his novice skills with those of expert firefighter Lee Cork.
You want to take a quick look at the smoke that's coming out at the moment? You'll go into there, yeah?
They're up against a terrifying opponent. This is Flashover, a major killer of firefighters.
My wife always said I'd go to hell.